In Istanbul, officials have arrested at least 8 people after all 4 members of a German-Turkish family fell ill and died last week. A preliminary forensic report showed they were likely exposed to toxic chemicals at their hotel. The family checked into a hotel on November 9th and sought medical help on November 12th after severe nausea and vomiting. Despite receiving treatment, they felt worse. As seen in this footage, the father called an ambulance, but the hotel entrance doors were locked. It took several minutes for the family to get into the ambulance until the receptionist returned and opened the doors. The 2 children died the next day, followed by their mother a day later, followed by their father after days in intensive care. Our correspondent Dorian Jones is following this story in Istanbul. He gave me this update on the investigation into those hotel deaths.
Well, yes, 8 people have been arrested. Now, we understand that some have been released under judicial control. Among those that have been arrested are people connected to the ownership of the hotel and its running, but also crucially to a pesticide company that carried out pest control in the room below, the room occupied by the Böcek family. Now, initial forensic reports say that the family died from chemical poisoning. Now, crucially, it hasn't said what that chemical was, but all attention is focusing on this pest control company that did carry out fumigation of that hotel. We understand that one of the suspected chemicals that they died from is a chemical that has been connected to using chemical warfare. So it gives an indication of how potentially toxic these chemicals are that have been used in the fumigation of this hotel. All attention is focusing on what happened with this pest control, but we're awaiting further reports from the authorities and the forensic report.
Now, there have been similar cases, Dorian, of pesticide-related incidents in Turkey recently. Do you see a pattern emerging here?
Well, I think that certainly is a concern. And in fact, we have the report that 7 people were hospitalized after the death of the Böcek family in Istanbul following a pest control carried out in the building they were living in. Turkish health authorities in Istanbul have said that it is believed that they fell victim to the pest chemicals that were used. Fortunately, it appears that all those people that were afflicted aren't in a life-threatening situation. But it underlines the deep concerns within Istanbul and the whole country over the question of regulation of fumicide and pest control companies. And not only them, but it's also we've had a spate of food poisoning and alcohol poisoning in a number of restaurants across the country, some cases fatal. And it's adding to this fear that regulations aren't being enforced. Now, authorities say there are very strict controls on the regulation of fumigation and hotels and bars, etc. But the key question is over enforcement. Now, in Istanbul, there's a major crackdown going on restaurants, on hotels, on the enforcement of these regulations, as they're aware that there is a national and international concern, given the fact that these people were on holiday, and this will become concerns over Turkey's vital tourism industry. So at the moment, there are big concerns over the regulation, health regulations, on whether it's in hotels or in restaurants and bars.
Coming back to this latest incident, Dorian, a security camera captured footage of the father of that family struggling to exit the hotel. That video has been publicly circulated. How are people reacting to it?
Well, I mean, there's a profound sense of shock over the deaths of this family who were buried in the Afyon province of Turkey this week, buried side by side. That received a great deal of coverage, adding to just the fear. But it's not only anger as well in this country over the fact that how was this allowed to happen, and also people's own well-being. In fact, I'm speaking to people in Istanbul regularly. People say, is it safe now to eat in restaurants? Are regulations being enforced? Turkey is in the grip of a major food crisis, inflation. Prices of food are sky high, and there is concerns that restaurants are cutting corners, and then therefore the people are saying there is real need for regulations to be properly enforced. And the local authorities in Istanbul and the national government are under a great deal of pressure for the authorities to do, as many people say, do their job. And the authorities say they are committed to doing this, but there is a great deal of not only sadness but also concern in the country for people's own well-being.
Dorian, thank you very much. As always, our correspondent Dorian Jones there in Istanbul.